I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Pikipek. Woodpeckers are common birds all over the world, landing on trees and using their sturdy beaks to chisel their way into the bark and hollow out a nest. They're small and timid, so not necessarily often seen, but they can be heard from some distance, and their handiwork easily identified in tree trunks. Although they are part of the same order, the Piciformes, toucans are in many ways the opposite of woodpeckers. Rather than small, compact beaks with incredible strength, they have large, showy beaks which are actually brittle. Rather than being hidden from view, toucan are proud to display themselves, and rather than working hard to dig a nest, they muscle their way in after little woodpeckers have finished working. Pikipek is our classic normal and flying type early game bird Pokemon. A black and white woodpecker with a red highlight that very closely resembles the real-world pileated woodpecker. It was one of the first 7th generation Pokemon we saw, albeit in wireframe form, when we saw our first glimpse of Game Freak hard at work on Pokemon Sun and Moon. Some Pokédex entries are almost like real-life facts about woodpeckers. Pokemon Sun tells us, "It can peck at a rate of 16 times a second to drill holes in trees. It uses the hole for food storage and nesting." In fact, some real woodpeckers are even faster, pecking at around 20 times a second. Of course, Pokemon are a little different to real animals, and some behavior is anthropomorphized, like Ultra Sun, which says, "It pecks at trees with its hard beak. You can get some idea of its mood or condition from the rhythm of its pecking." The Japanese name, Tsutsukera, swaps around the real-world Keratsutsuki, or woodpecker. Similarly, the English name combines the Latin picus with the English peck, both meaning woodpecker. That said, Pikipek does have one ability quite uncommon in real woodpeckers. Pokemon Moon tells us, "This Pokemon feeds on berries, whose leftover seeds become the ammunition for the attacks it fires off from its mouth." At level 14, this fire power develops when Pikipek evolves into Trumbeak. Trumbeak is taller and more aerodynamic, with sharp quills and a long beak. Trumbeak uses this beak like a trumpet, hence the name. Pokemon Moon tells us, "By bending its beak, it can produce a variety of calls, and brand itself a noisy nuisance for its neighbors." The Japanese name, Karapa, also adds the Japanese for trumpet into the previous name. It doesn't just use its beak as a trumpet, though, but also as a weapon. Pokemon Sun tells us, "It eats berries and stores their seeds in its beak. When it encounters enemies or prey, it fires off all the seeds in a burst." And Pokemon Ultra Moon, "From its mouth, it fires the seeds of berries it has eaten. The scattered seeds give rise to new plants." Real woodpeckers and toucans are, despite making holes in trees, often symbiotically very useful for spreading seeds. Trumbeak spitting seeds seems like something a believable bird would do, but it will go extreme when, at level 28, it evolves into Toucannon. Toucannon is a normal and flying type still, but it has developed into a toucan with an enormous beak, almost as long as its whole body. It has a stern look, but its colour scheme is in keeping with its predecessors. Not as outlandish as some species of real toucan, and the proportions are not nearly as crazy as they might have been. Toucannon takes Trumbeak's seed-spitting habit and turns it up to 11. Pokemon Moon tells us, "Within its beak, its internal gas ignites, explosively launching seeds with enough power to pulverize boulders. And Pokemon Ultra Sun tells us, they smack beaks with others of their kind to communicate. The strength and number of hits tell each other how they feel. Real toucan's beaks are actually not especially strong, existing mainly for intimidation and also regulating the bird's body temperature. Pokemon Sun does say, when it battles, its beak heats up. The temperature can easily exceed 212 degrees Fahrenheit, causing severe burns when it hits. Real-world toucans are infamous for bullying their way into the homes dug by smaller birds, but they are only doing what they must for their own young. Ultra Moon says, known for forming harmonious couples, this Pokemon is brought to wedding ceremonies as a good luck charm. And Pokemon Violet says, pairs of Toucannon are considered symbols of companionship, as these Pokemon will raise the temperature of their beaks to warm each other. The name, Toucannon, simply combines toucan, the bird, with cannon, the weapon. The Japanese name, Dodekabashi, just means large toucan. Toucannon is a big cannon of a toucan, with a very high attack stat, the unique move Beak Blast, and the ability Skill Link that lets it take advantage of multi-hit moves. After the Fire-type Talonflame, and with Steel and Electric birds in the next two generations, Toucannon's normal and flying combo can feel a little disappointing. It has serious power though, and it's a colourful example of a cool bird. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon was composed by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Funding is by supporters at patreon.com/podcastio-podcastius. I love hearing from listeners. Get in touch on YouTube, social media, or email, and let me know about your favourite monsters. Coming up next are Young Goose and Grubbin, so let me know your thoughts about those or any other Pokemon. And even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Pikipek, and remember, I love you too.